Want to hear an interesting stat?
Yes.
According to the Australian Institute of Health, just 2 in 10 adults over 65 perform the minimum strength training guidelines of 2 sessions per week.
Put another way, that means 80% of adults over 65 are not even meeting the minimum guidelines.
And of those people, 94% are doing no strengthening activities at all.
Mate, considering muscle mass and muscle strength are some of the biggest predictors of health and longevity, we need to change that stat.
And it's not as hard as you think.
It's not actually.
It's not at all. And to make it even easier, we're going to give you a free mini workout.
A free mini workout.
So stick around.
Make sure you stick around. But why should you be meeting the strength training guidelines anyway?
Having strong muscles is important for maintaining your independence with all your daily activities, whether it's carrying the groceries, climbing the stairs, or working in the garden.
Strength training improves your stability and your balance, which means you're going to reduce your risk of falls. Oh, caught myself.
Having more muscle mass increases your metabolic rate, and that means you burn more energy day to day, and that can help you with weight management.
It reduces your risk of heart disease so that you're less likely to need one of these.
Strength training has also been shown to reduce rates of depression and anxiety.
One of the best things about strength training is that it promotes better sleep.
It helps your cognitive function and reduces your risk of developing dementia.
And finally, strength training can lead to stronger bones.
Now, that's a long list of benefits, but I think the most important one is that strength training allows you to live the life that you want.
Yeah, that's right. Whether it's getting stronger legs so you can do more hiking,
Or working around the garden for longer without getting as tired.
maybe it's so that you can keep up with the grandkids, at least for a little bit. Now, based on our experience as physios working with thousands of adults 55 plus, it's pretty clear that many people simply don't know where to start.
So we're going to show you a super simple strength workout that you can complete at home. And we're going to make it tolerable and really easy and manageable.
Yeah. And mate, we don't want all those fancy bells and whistles that come along with a lot of other workouts. We just want to keep this simple, don't we?
That's right. So you're only going to need some very simple equipment. If you've got any gym equipment lying around the house, you can grab that. Or you might grab a bag, fill it with some books. You can use that as a weight. All right, Jack, let's get into it. All right, let's get stuck into our workout. Now, you're going to need some equipment. Jack's got some gym equipment, but if you haven't got that lying around the house, that's fine. You can use a bag, which I filled with some books to make it a bit heavier, and you're also potentially going to need something to sit down on.
Yes, press pause, go grab your equipment. Let's get stuck into this mini strength workout. We're going to start with a squat, so holding weight or not, squatting down and up.
An easier version would be a sit to stand. Okay, so I'm going to sit down the chair with a cushion so I'm a bit higher up, stand back up once again with or without weight.
Beauty. Okay, we're going to get started in 10 seconds time. And by the way, we're doing 40 seconds for each of the 4 exercises. Okay, you ready to go, mate?
I sure am, Jack.
I am going to hold a weight for this one. I've got a dumbbell and I'm just going to hold it with my hands under the edges just like this. Let's go for it.
Okay, so it doesn't matter where you put your feet for this, just pick a stance that's comfortable. We're really challenging the thigh muscles, of course, here, and the buttock muscles.
And for the squat, I'm just aiming my bottom for the floor. So I'm not bending over here. That's more like a deadlift. I'm dropping my bottom to the floor just like that. Whew, 10 seconds to go.
And if you're getting any pain, like in your knees, you could make the chair higher or just don't squat down as low.
3, 2, 1. And let's have a rest. Okay, we're going to get into a push-up. You probably know what a push-up looks like, but we're going to give you some key pointers. So for the harder version, which I'll be doing, I'm going to go down to the ground. Just got something here for my knees, as Ollie does as well. Hands out in front of me, and I'm going to be getting my chest towards my hands. Nice and simple.
Easier version, same thing, knees on the floor, but I'm going to put my hands on the seat of a chair so I'm a bit higher up. Okay,
Let's
40
do it.
seconds, let's go. And you're really going to feel this one across the chest muscles, the shoulders and the arms, of course, the triceps. But if it's too challenging, Just don't go down quite so far. You might go halfway.
And Ollie, they might jump up to a bench, like a kitchen bench or something like that.
Perfect.
To
Or
make it
a
even
wall
easier.
push-up. A wall
push-up.
push-up, perhaps.
There's always options, but you just got to make sure it's manageable and tolerable for you, okay? That's the main thing about starting.
Okay, last few seconds. Stay with us.
Speaking of manageable, this is getting pretty hard. Let's have a cheeky rest.
Next exercise is going to be a pickup. Now, this is a great one for building some strength in your back and preparing you for picking up the groceries, working in the garden. All you're going to need is a weight. We're going to put it between your feet, bending down, standing up straight, keeping the arms straight. You can do that with a kettlebell, as Jack's showing, or with a bag.
You can do it with a dumbbell as well.
And if it's troublesome for you to bend down all the way, you might just go down past your knees, okay?
Let's do it.
So you can see from the side, I'm not going all the way down. That's going to make it a little bit easier if you do have any back sensitivity, or perhaps you've got a sore hip, something like that.
Yep. Now, we spoke about before, the squat is where our bottom goes down. For the deadlift, we want our bottom to go backwards and let our chest come over towards the floor, just like that. So good for any activities that we're going to be doing in our daily life where we are picking things up, whether that's the groceries, maybe a big heavy pot in the garden, grandchildren picking up the dog, whatever it is.
Yep.
Okay, let's have a rest there.
All right.
Oh, mate, we are firing through this.
We sure are, Jack. Now, our last exercise, we're going to challenge the muscles around our trunk. We're going to do an abdominal exercise, the reverse crunch. So the easier version, I'm going to lean back in my chair or this bench that I've got here, and I'm going to lift one knee at a time. Really use those abdominal muscles.
Ollie, I am putting my hands beside me just like this, laying down with my head flat, and I'm lifting my knees up towards my chest as much as I can.
Okay, let's go for it. 40 seconds.
Oh, and you should really feel this all throughout the abdomen. Oh,
and you might even feel this one in the front of your hip as well. Just working those hip flexor muscles, which is great.
and I'm trying to do a little bit of a harder version where I'm lifting my lower back and bottom off the ground. That's a really tough reverse crunch. And slowly and controlled, bring it back down to the ground. 3 seconds, 2, 1. Oh man. Whew.
Okay, well, that is our strength workout done. So there's a super simple, manageable strength workout that you can do at home to build your strength. And we just did the one set, but you could of course add an extra set or two to increase the challenge.
So try to hit at least 2 strength training sessions per week. And remember, exercise doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to have bells and whistles attached. It can be simple, but most of all, it just needs to get done.
So be the minority. Be in that 20% of people who are meeting the strength training guidelines and building a stronger, fitter version of yourself. Want to hear an interesting stat? What's the tone there?
Want to hear an interesting stat?
Want to hear? So the intonation is on stat. Want to hear an interesting stat? Want to hear an interesting stat? Want to hear an interesting stat? What? There's a lot of T's. Want to hear? Wanna, mate.
Want to hear an interesting stat?
Want to hear an interesting stat? Want to hear an interesting stat? Want to hear an interesting stat? Do you want to hear an interesting stat? Are you ready to absorb this interesting stat? Do you want to hear an interesting stat so profound that you can't unhear it? Do you want to hear an interesting stat so profound that you simply can't unhear it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. 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 Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes.